I want to welcome everyone here to have devotions with us today. And today, for the next 3 days, I'm going to be talking about the mess you're in. Now, all of us have different messy things going on. Now, this message or this devotional and verses we're looking at, they preach to me. You know, sometimes life preaches to you. And if you don't listen to it, it will preach all the harder to you. And I know you can testify to that. So first thing I want to do, I want to go Genesis chapter 2. There's more in this verse than what you think. It says, "Then the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground, and he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and that man became a living being." Now, I find this to be really interesting when I look at this verse, because God breathed life into man that he made out of the dust of the ground. And one day at the resurrection, God is going to breathe life into our dead bodies one more time. And we're going to come to life by his spoken word. But first, I want you to notice that it says that man came from the dust of the ground. We're from dust. Yeah, God knows us. We were made from dirt. Every spring I like to make something. So at my home, I'll plant some bushes, or I'll plant some trees, or we'll do some sort of gardening or something like it. Or I like to build something. And when I'm building something, it gets real messy. Like real muddy. We're talking like trashed mess, and I'm dragging mud, and it's coming on the carpeting of the deck, and my wife says, "Oh, here we go again." I don't like the mess, but I like what comes out in the end. Now, listen, I know some of us are going through some things right now, and it might be real messy because you're trying to get ready for something, but it always gets real messy when you're trying to produce something. Now, some of you ladies, you're like real hard on yourselves because you had a baby, and now you don't look the same. Okay, but you have to remember, don't be so hard on yourself. You pushed a human being out of your body. It's okay for you to look different. Plus, you're upset because you can't wear that two-piece bathing suit. Well, you shouldn't have been wearing that two-piece bathing suit in the first place. Okay, now that's just Pastor Mike's commentary on what you're doing there. Okay, but we pay a price and we become a mess, but we like what the mess produced. Isn't that true? But there is a meaning within that mess. Now look with me over in Proverbs chapter 14. It says, "Where no oxen are, the crib is clean, but much increase is by the strength of the oxen." Now I want to be sure you're understanding what this verse is meaning. If you have an oxen, you have some ox, well, you could do a lot of work, especially back then when they did farming and things such as that. If you didn't have an oxen, you were a loser. And the reason why, because you couldn't produce anything. But guess what? The crib where the oxen were kept, it was real nice and clean. It's like when you're raising kids, your house is always trashed. After raising 6 children, my advice, don't bother cleaning the house until they move out, all right? It's just going to be a waste of time. Stop fighting with the kids on cleaning their bedrooms to shut the door, because it does seem to be hopeless. Wherever you have children, you have a mess, but you won't always have that mess. We all want the oxen, but we don't want to shovel the stuff they produce. Isn't that true? Nobody wants to clean out after the oxen. And if you have 2 oxen or a group of oxen, and they put the oxen behind the other ones as they're pulling the plow, and you are behind the other oxen, the scenery is always the same. Isn't that true? So, okay, life is just hard, and life can be a mess, but there's meaning within that mess. I find as a grandparent, my children will look at me, and they're like, "Wow, like I'm real forgiving of the grandchildren, and I don't discipline the grandchildren." I don't, and I won't. You know why? Because that's messy. And I don't have to do that anymore. And when you're in the mess, you're like, "Oh, this is so hard." But one day, the children are gone. And the house is clean. My wife and I, some years ago, we bought some brand new furniture. It still looks like it's brand new, and it's been some years because we don't have kids anymore. there's meaning in that mess. So you need to reinterpret the mess you're looking at.